What's good, y'all? It is day 3 of the solitude challenge. Can you tell I'm tired? It's been a long day. I was supposed to be taking solitude, right? Today that didn't go exactly like I would be ideal for me, right? So I had a classmate pass away, and today was his family hour, and I went. And I went because they're usually lighter than funerals. Less people. So I did do my due diligence. Also made sure that we blessed his people. So I feel like that was worth not staying in the house, if you will, right? Because that's where I've been getting my solitude at. So what I realized today is that anytime we commit to ourselves and say that we're going to do something, there's a test that immediately follows that, right? I think when we say things to the Most High, the universe, to nature, to life, however you regard the source, the one that we're connected to, that lives in all of us. I think whenever we say we're going to do something, the source automatically is like, all right, see how serious you are about that. And then we have experiences that are adverse to what we said we was going to be committed to. And I'm not saying that about solitude in specific, but just about anything. You know what I'm saying? You say you committed to peace, somebody finna come raising some hell. You know what I'm saying? You say you committed to spending time being disciplined, then you're going to have all sorts of opportunities to do shit that's going to take you away from that. Like, I mean, you know, when you say you're going to do one, the other comes as a test, you know? And so I have seen that today. On day 1, sitting with the emotions that I had, it allowed them to be revealed to me, right? Like those places that were overflowing. And the number one question I asked is, where does it hurt? Where does it hurt? And let the answers bubble up from inside me. And so what I realized today was, well, now you know where it hurts. What do you want to do around that? Because you got to address what's unhealed, right? And you got to get to a place of healing. So how you move from one place of where you are in your emotions to another place, right? And the first thing you do is make your mind up. That's what I know. Mom used to say all the time, ain't nothing more powerful than a made-up mind. It don't matter what you are applying that to. Once your mind is made up, there's something psychologically that happens, right? Where our mind subconsciously starts refusing other things that are not in alignment with that. When we're really serious. Like, I remember I used to smoke Black and Milds. And I remember I said, this is going to be my last Black and Mild. And I went probably about 3-4 days and I ain't smoked no Black and Mild. And oh my goodness, it had got in my spirit. Yeah, it did. Got in my spirit real bad. And I was like, oh, I'm going to get a short one. You know what I'm saying? They had just came out with the shorts with the filters on them. You feel me? I was like, oh, just go get you some shorts. Man, I went and got me one and hit that hoe about 3 times. And I immediately felt nauseous. Had to pull over. Threw up. But the only way that I can explain that to myself, the only way that makes sense to myself in terms of the revelation given to me, is that you made your mind up and you said you weren't going to do that. So why would you renege on our agreement? Word is bond. So when you let the words come out your mouth, you've signed the contract. And that's the whole premise of, you know, our words being the source of our ability to create. You know, they say our thoughts create things, but, you know, our words are thoughts first. You know what I'm saying? So you have the thought, you have the word, you have the expression, you have the manifestation, in that order. And sometimes different parts of that process take different amounts of time, but that's really how it happened. Unless you want to add in there between expression. Nope. I was about to say emotional attachment, but emotional attachment is a part of your expression. And I guess that could be a class one day. Definitely could be. But when you say it, it becomes real. And there are things associated with that, right? So, like, I'm just mindful of that. And I'm grateful that the universe is making me look in the mirror at all the ways that I commit to other things stronger than I commit to myself. Right? So not that I don't commit to myself, not that I don't take care of myself, don't love myself, don't none of this. But a lot of times external, I do that better for other things and other people than I do for myself. And I've had to sit with that, you know? As I said, when you start realizing the places that you have not healed and ask yourself, what do I want this area of my life to look like? How do I want to shape it? What do I want to grow into in regards to it? Like, when we make that identification, then it's like, damn, this is what I got to do different. And it's always of what I got to do different, right? Because one thing that is so clear to me is that every experience that we have is a mirror of us in some shape, form, or fashion, right? And so when we are finding things that are not serving us, not helping us, or agitating us, or making us upset, angry, that all of that is because whatever it is that we seeing that's making us feel like that is already in us. So we got to go to that place in us that responds like that and say, damn, why am I responding like this? What is it in me that feels some kind of way? And how do I go and I address that in a healthy way, right? Where I can proactively begin to shape my behavior. Part of it is seeing your behavior, you know? And so that today I have just really looked at a lot of the situations that I have found myself in, whether it be work related, personal related, like all of them, like from a bird's eye view. I think it's important for us to get into the practice meditationally, to come outside our body and to look at ourselves. Not just physically, but I mean in all forms. And I may have a different experience to this because I have narcolepsy, right? And so one of the things that's happened to me in that is that I do get to see myself sometimes, and it comes through what for other people is sleep, right? So I can be sleep in one capacity and awake in another, and I don't know how to explain how it happens, but whatever it is has saved my life on multiple occasions, right? I've fallen asleep driving several times. I don't anymore because I don't push myself the way that I used to. I have learned to take much better care of myself since I had that wreck in 2015. But I used to fall asleep driving, and I would have these experiences where in the midst of that, it's like my spirit would come outside my body and I could see me sleep. I could see the road, see what was on the side of me. Like in myself, even though I'm watching my body sleep. And I don't know, there's an awareness, you know, that for me that has taught me to have about the situations in my life, right? So when you're in the middle of an experience, if you get emotionally hijacked and you're triggered by something or not able to articulate how you feel, you then are so in the situation that you can't think clearly, right? So what happens when you have experiences or triggers or things that are unpleasant to you and you get to a place where you're like, damn, I heard that. I received that. I'm going to process that. I'm going to respond to that. And I'm going to do so all intentionally. Why? Because I just walk myself through it. And there's no need for me to respond adversely. And that's not necessarily, when I say adversely, that doesn't necessarily mean anger. But like one of the things I have been really, processing is how I love people. I done had loyalty issues for real, like loyal to a fault, in ways that serve other people more than it serves me. And because of the loyalty, right? And I've had to ask myself, where's your sense of obligation and duty coming from? Where you feel like when you're loyal, you should stay in those situations, even when that's the case, right? Because then that gets to a place where like there's a lack of mutuality or reciprocity, and people have different types of feelings, all different types of unbalance can seep in, creep in, like just all different types of things. Like, how do you mitigate and how do you handle and deal with those things, you know? And so for me, you know, that's been a real thing. Like when people have hurt you, how do you build back up the vulnerability to try again? And it's romance, friendships, family, whoever, you know, because we all go through experiences with people that are hurtful. They really are. And you can't control nobody but yourself. And so there are times where you might want to make amends with somebody, but it's like, damn, man, I heard all that shit you said. You got to stand on that shit. I still love you, though. How am I going to govern myself? And then in the event that you do decide that you're going to come back, how then do I still govern myself? Right? I look at my life and I've noticed over the last 6 months, I've been dealing with repeat situations. Same stage, same play, different actors. That's me that's fucking up. That mean I ain't learned my lesson. If I had learned it in situation 1, situation 2, situation 3, then they wouldn't keep reappearing, right? Right? So it gets to this place where it's like, damn, okay, I see it. I'm recognizing, I'm navigating and maneuvering, bobbing and weaving, figuring this thing out. But I've got to get to the root of it, because at the center of what I address is also the center of what I transform, right? So when you have the intention of growth and development and wholeness, right? Wellness, healing, there's a different response that you gotta have at all times to that shit. And I don't never run from it. But sometimes it be like, oh, fuck, that hurt. It did, you know, and the self-accountability in that thing is just so strong. Like, yeah, man, all I can control is myself. What am I gonna do different? How do I walk into each day navigating it with not only the intention that I have, but with the practice that's informed by my intention, right? Because the road to hell is paved with good intentions. But how do I make sure that my practice is aligned with where I'm seeking to go and seeking to create? And in the periods that I'm on my way and that shit is rough, how do I expand myself in order to be able to rise to the occasion? Like, I don't want to make excuses about shit. Nothing that's happening, right? And so for me, that means keep healing. Keep searching yourself. Keep going deeper. Keep figuring out your unhealed places so that you can get them to a place where they're well. Fuck a Band-Aid, right? Fuck a cover-up. Fuck dressing some shit up so that it look like something that it ain't. I want it to be what it is whenever you see it. And I want it to be clear that you know what you're looking at. And so, yeah, I really just sat down with the different areas of my life today and started looking at that shit like, damn. How you make it what you want it to be? And how do you not judge your feelings for existing? Because when you're judging your feelings, you're not posturing to respond to them in a healthy way. You're posturing to respond to them based on whatever the judgment is. And then if the judgment is inherent, then you got to identify where it came from, because it's a product of some belief that was either given or inherited. And so, yeah, just going digging deep, figuring that thing out, because we create everything in our reality. We are the center at all times, man. And I just want to make sure that what I create is what I intend. I don't want to live a life of excuses. I don't want to live a life blaming other people for shit. I don't want to live a life of regret because I moved out here thoughtlessly and carelessly. I don't want to live a lonely life because I didn't know how to handle people appropriately. I also don't want to live a miserable life because I let people handle me inappropriately. And just refuse to do that. I want to live a full life. I long to see longevity. I really hope so. I also know that a lot of the work that I do ain't no fan. People ain't no fan of. It's a lot of people that ain't no fan of them. It's some people that are, but you know, this is the really deep side, the personal. This is me being vulnerable. But like, yeah, I do this when I'm by myself. And I do it by myself because it's safe there. You know what I'm saying? When you start talking to people and sharing with them about your truths and your reality and other things, like, you really got to discern whether or not you can trust them. Because people will take your shit and they'll share it with somebody else just because there's something to talk about, and they ain't got nothing else more valuable to them than you and your business. You know? So being mindful of that is a real thing. But you should always have a home within yourself. You should always feel safe within yourself. And so for me, I have found that. I love it here. It's always good vibes. Even when I got to recalibrate my energy, as soon as it get there. And I'm also at a place where I refuse to let my vibration get to a certain place too. And so when other people are there, I find myself struggling because I don't know how to engage with them on that vibration. And I got to figure that part out too, because it doesn't make them any less valuable. It just changes shit. But it's a time of change and transition. It's a time of purging. It's a time of clearing out space. And it's a time for receiving new things. It's a time of building. It is a time for all of that. Like, all of that is happening in this season right now. And I know I'm not the only one who feels it and who feels called to it. You know, I watch my timeline and people in other places, on other, you know, on all different types of platforms. I watch folk on Facebook and Instagram and Big O and like all, you know, like there's something that's happening. The Clubhouse, where people are talking about this spiritual awakening, this intentionality, this oomph in the belly, right? That's moving you to do something, something new, something that you hadn't done before. And so I am leaning into this process, this experience, and this is confessional for day number 3, man. They're getting longer and longer every day. I'm realizing that too. I don't know if that means my revelations are getting more thorough or I'm just saying more, you know, but yeah. Thank you for listening.